Hey folks, today is Tuesday, January 19, 2020. Sorry, bumped the table here. 2021. I'm just on a little TV tray. So let's go over a few things. First of all, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's in Hebrews. God said he's not a man that he should lie. He said, I am the Lord, I change not. He said, those who honor me, I will honor. That's a promise. And we have talked about how Trump has honored the Lord by being the first that I know of president to actually name the name of Jesus Christ, to tell people to get to know the Lord, to ask for prayer for himself, to tell us we should be praying about all this situation we're in. So he's honoring the Lord. And don't forget, Deuteronomy 30:19 that I talk about every day, that we're to choose life and we will be blessed. So I've talked about that for a couple months now and on a frequent basis. And of course, we, the majority, chose the pro-life president. And Satan wanted to steal. And we've talked about the parable of the wheat and the tares, which Satan, which illustrates what Satan has done with Biden. I watched something that's new. That is a man from Sweden, I think, because his last name, I think, was Sorensen, talking about what happened in Italy. And he actually had a professor who's a lawyer, university professor, I think, who's a lawyer, the top lawyer in the country of Italy, stating unequivocally that the election was stolen by Italy. I've heard rumored that the Vatican is the one that paid for it, but the Leonardo satellite, was able to capture all the information and then send it by satellite to Germany. And he knows and stated the name of the guy who was using military cyber warfare to do this. And remember, our Constitution says that if there's foreign interference, it nullifies the election, and people involved have committed treason. If Biden gets inaugurated yesterday, he will have completed the cycle of treason so that he can be held liable. The other question is, according to the Constitution, is which Constitution are we now under? The original Constitution from the 1700s or the 1871 Constitution? We'll come back and talk about that a little bit in a minute. I want to state some facts about President Trump. He's a New Yorker, which means he's brash. It's common for New Yorkers to be brash. The people I know who are from New York, especially the New York City area, can be that way. He fights back. If he gets hit, he hits back harder. That's typical of him. So for him to give up goes against his nature, okay? We've got to remember that. It goes against his nature. He promised to drain the swamp. He promised to return the government to the people. He told the UN they need to respect our national sovereignty. In other words, we're not going to be part of the global community, and we are a sovereign nation, and the UN, the countries of the UN need to respect that. He has stood a hard line on that. Mark Taylor said that Trump would be in for 2 terms, that there would be military tribunals against the corrupt. Larry had said that that's not how it works, but he did say that if these people are convicted of treason, then or they're being arrested and indicted for treason, then yes, military tribunals would be appropriate. And of course, we've seen lots and lots and lots of treason. Hank Kunneman, Dutch Sheets, Tim Sheets, Lance Wallnau, Mario Murillo, Kat Kerr, even Kat Kerr today in interviews with Elijah List, it might have been yesterday. She's reiterating the video I watched today said she'd been in heaven talking to God this morning, and God was promising that, things were going forward the way we're expecting. I saw a map this morning on Facebook that showed that only the states of Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Illinois, and some small states in the northeast, not Maine, but it looked like it was included Maryland, Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Vermont went for Biden. But they're saying that even California went for Trump. But of course, that would be, the Steele changing that. Biden has selected the worst, the most liberal, the most communist people for his cabinet, and the Senate today is hearing and confirming those picks. Now, Dutch Sheets and Dave Daubenmire have had some teams of people that have gone to pray. Dutch has sometimes gone alone, but usually he takes a group of people. Dutch has gone to Cape Henry. Cape Henry is where the ship came in 1607. Everybody was told to stay on the ship. They had gone further than they had anticipated, so they'd been on the ship longer than expected already. And the pastor that was on board told them to stay on board, fasting and praying for another 3 days. He went on the beach. They set up a cross, and he made a covenant with God that we would be a nation that would take the gospel to anybody living in our country, and also we would take the gospel around the world. That is a covenant that was made, and we need to get back to that covenant. Dutch Sheets went to Cape Henry and prayed that we would be back under that covenant with God. Another strategic place that Dutch has gone is the head of the Allegheny, and I can't remember why he said that was so significant, but the head of the Allegheny is in Northwest Pennsylvania. Sorry, brain freeze. He's also gone to D.C. and prayed at significant places around D.C., and he had a prayer meeting with his team in the Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia, the 6 states that where the Steele was most obvious. Dave Daubenmire has a team that has gone to Chappaqua and actually prayed. One of the members of the team actually touched the gate of Hillary Clinton's and put his toes under the gate, so he was actually standing inside, or he actually had his toes inside the gate, praying for justice. They were maybe a month ago in D.C. praying at the fork. There's some kind of stone monument at the four corners of D.C. I never knew they existed, or I would have done this myself. But they went and prayed at every one of those four corners, as well as the Washington Monument for Justice. They were at the D.C. rally, at the Capitol, documenting what happened, and of course in prayer as well. They frequently go to abortion clinics and try to save babies, which I appreciate very much, because we all should in some way be involved in that. Right now, my way of doing that is to be in prayer, because I can't do more than that right now. They've also gone to the serpent mounds, and the biggest one is the serpent catching the egg from the woman, and it's representing the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. And of course, I've done a prayer walk around the Capitol. I did that in November of 2019. And don't forget, you can get a map, and like Verizon says, let your fingers do the walking. So get a map. Let your fingers go around, and you can be part of this. Get a map of your own state capital. Get a map of the U.S. Capitol. This map includes the White House. So, at this end, I put my finger around the White House and pray for safety and everything else that we should be doing. I don't know what else to call him, her. He's a man pretending to be a woman from Pennsylvania who helped with the steal of the election. And even though she's in the health department, she's the assistant for director for the health department. So I want to warn us all that we need to be prepared for some kind of Democrat lashback or false flag. A cornered dog is a very dangerous thing, and that's what we are looking at right now. I just saw something just a few minutes ago that Trump won by an additional 10 million over what he won by in 2016, and they have to negate or nullify those 10 million. So Biden wants to give citizenship to 11 million who are here illegally or under DACA. Plus, the thousands of migrants coming up now from Honduras and Guatemala. Guatemala has stopped them currently because they're waiting to see what's going to happen. And Biden asked them to please wait. He's got to get some things in place before he can let them in. The FCC went to TV stations, put quite a bit of fear into the head of the station. There were a couple other people in uniforms with badges. The person reporting what happened. Oh, thanks, Laura. Yeah, Rachel Levine. She's the one from she was the Secretary of Health, I think, in Pennsylvania. Back to the FCC and the TV stations. I understand they have been told that there is an emergency broadcast coming that could last as much as 72 hours, and they must allow the broadcast to go through, or they themselves, the head of the station, will be arrested. Now, I know at this point it's still rumored. There's a question about why the numbers of National Guard and troops in DC is supposed to swell to 30,000 tomorrow. I understand yesterday there were 2,000 of them that were sworn in. Yeah, that's strange, Laura. There are 2,000 sworn in as U.S. Marshals. Now, U.S. Marshals can arrest. I've seen pictures of Pelosi surrounded by 4 female U.S. Marshals. Yeah, I mean, you can make up whatever you want these days with the computer, so it's hard to know what's really true. But the question is, with all the fencing around DC, is it possible that they are going to open indictments and arrest a bunch of people with these 2,000 marshals? And are these people then going into military tribunals to be broadcast through the emergency broadcasting system? Are these people going to be publicly confessing what they've done and run in an 8-hour loop over and over and over again, which would be 72 hours? That'd be 9 times. Is that what's going to happen for the rest of this week? Who knows? Who knows? I don't tend to report rumors here, but we're at the end of President Trump's current term, and how we get him back in as the president, a prison bus just arrived in front of the Capitol. Oh, Michelle, that's an incredible news story. Have you seen the picture of it? I mean, I just, who knows? We're not there to say yes for sure it's documented, and how many people are there documenting this and putting this out. So I don't know what's going to happen, folks. I know Kim Clement and these other prophets that I mentioned earlier all said that he's going to have 2 terms. Kim Clement said at one point there's going to be 2 presidents at one time. So the big question is the Constitution. So in the 1780s, the Constitution was created. In 1871, after the Civil War, our country went bankrupt. Ulysses S. Grant was the president in 1871. Because of the bankruptcy, apparently a deal was made with the Rothschilds and the Bank of London, and we came under their control, which is why we have the gold fringe on the flags. And they were actually controlling our country. Oh, Right Side Broadcasting put out the story of the prison bus. That sounds legitimate. There will be Republicans arrested, Kelly. Absolutely. These rhinos that are so anti-Trump and anti-American will definitely be included. So back to the 1871 Constitution. So we've been under the foot of the Crown of England all these years since 1871. Now, my understanding is a couple years ago, the U.S. actually went bankrupt. And when Trump was there walking in front of the Queen, it indicated I understand it was meant to indicate to the world that we are no longer under the 1871 Constitution, and that's been voided. Proof of it I haven't seen. Is just a story I've heard multiple times. Seem to be coming from credible people. But if that story is true, then Biden being inaugurated, if that story is true and the 1871 Constitution is null and void, which made us a corporation under London. Now, if we are no longer a corporation and Biden is inaugurated under that null and voided Constitution, that also means he is committing treason for being inaugurated under the wrong Constitution. And anybody who's there to support him is also guilty. So I think it happened when Trump visited London and met with the Queen, and also visited the Vatican and met with the Pope. I think it has something to do with those trips. But like I said, I don't have proof of this. And so I'm just telling you hearsay. I am telling you it's hearsay. But this is something I am hoping is true. I don't know. I think this is something that the Q folks have tended to support. I think McInerney recently said something about the 1871 Constitution being null. If all that is true, now we know under the original Constitution, Ulysses S. Grant was the 18th president. Under the original Constitution, the inauguration day was March 4th. So there is rumor that President Trump will be inaugurated for his second term on March 4th. Under the original Constitution, he promised that he would give the government back to the people. So, yes, I've read it multiple places, Michelle, but I just, I don't know who's sending it out. A lot of times it doesn't have a name attached, so I don't know if it's true. So I'm just telling you that to be aware. Oh, I was going to have a box of popcorn here to show you guys. Anyhow, did you know today is National Popcorn Day? So people are saying, get your popcorn. We got quite a show coming the next few days. Is this true? I don't know. I know that I believe God. I know God does not change. I know he promises to honor those who honor him. I know the fact that he is stronger than the devil, and he has the ability to override this. He has not thundered from heaven that I've heard. I've heard a prophet say that when you start hearing of the ground shaking without it being an earthquake, which just happened in Florida this last weekend, then God is, get ready, God is ready to move and do what he needs to do. So with all that political, maybe nothing more than gobbledygook, but we're not to be in fear. We're to trust the Lord with all our heart. That is where we are to be. That is who we are to be, is strong followers of the Lord, pressing into what God says, believing him, and knowing that he's in charge, and nothing can happen right now without his permission. So with that, I'm going to read Psalm 40. That's the next one in our list of imprecatory prayers. Imprecatory prayers are where you're praying for God's judgment. So Psalm 40, it is a psalm that David wrote for the director of music, which probably is Asaph. But it's a psalm of David. I waited patiently for the Lord. Remember in Isaiah 40, it says, wait for the Lord. Wait patiently for the Lord. And he certainly tests our patience when we're waiting for him. And I have seen so many times when midnight's the deadline, he comes through at 11:51, 11:59, or sometimes 12:05 because the deadline wasn't hard and fast at midnight. So we don't give up. We wait patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. Thinking about getting out of the mud and mire, my understanding is they even tried to kill Melania Trump by poisoning her nail polish. Rumor, maybe. I don't know. Haven't seen proof of it. But, the attempts on their life and their willingness to stay is just a little mind-boggling and proof of faith in God that the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fears him and he will deliver them. And remember, we need to be praying Psalm 91 for our president on a regular basis, as well as ourselves. All right, back to Psalm 40, verse 3. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. And remember, I told you this last weekend when I asked Saturday morning what the Lord wanted me to pray about. He said, worship me. There have been times when I've been allowed to pray and intercede, and there are other times when God said, you sing praises and you concentrate on praise and worship and thanking him. I wish I could fast right now, but trying to get my blood sugar under control means I need to really be concentrating on that for myself. Devil, you will not win this fight, and I know you're making there's trouble there because I can't fast, but I have fasted so much over the last 4 years that the Lord knows that, and when I am back to normal, I will start again. Thank you, Susan, for your fasting. Blessed is the man who makes the Lord his trust, who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside to false gods. Many, O Lord my God, are the wonders that you have done. The things you planned for us, no one can recount to you. Were I to speak of them and tell them, they'd be too many to declare. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but my ears, and that's interesting because here is David under the Mosaic laws where there was sacrifice and offerings. But he said that's just not what God desires, but what he wants is my ear you have pierced. Remember, a slave would get their ear pierced. If somebody signed up was a voluntary slave for a while and their term was up and they chose to stay with the owner, their ear was pierced, indicating their commitment to the slave owner. So that's what he's done. My ears you have pierced, burnt offerings and sin offerings you didn't require. And so then I said, here am I have come. It is written about me in the scroll that I desire to do your will. Oh my God, your law is within my heart. And scripture does say that in the end times, the law of the Lord is going to be written on the hearts. I proclaim righteousness in the great assembly. I don't seal my lips, as you know, O Lord. He's not willing to keep quiet. I don't hide your righteousness in my heart. I speak of your faithfulness and salvation. This is something we all should be doing, folks. I don't conceal your love and your truth from the great assembly. Don't withhold your mercy from me, O Lord. May your love and your truth always protect me. For troubles without number surround me. And that is certainly where we are. Thanks, Michelle. My sins have overtaken me and I can't see. They are more than the hairs of my head and my heart fails within me. Be pleased, O Lord, to save me. O Lord, come quickly and help me. May all who seek to take my life. So here's the imprecatory part. May all who seek to take my life, our president's life, be put to shame and confusion. May all who desire my ruin, our president's ruin, be turned back in disgrace. May all who seek to take our president's life be put to shame and confusion. May all who desire his ruin be turned back in disgrace. May those who say, aha, aha, be appalled at their own shame. Certainly, if it's true that we're going to have some confessions going on emergency broadcast and you won't be able to see any other program but that, I would think some shame would become accompanying that. May all who seek, if it's true, add that if it's true. May all who seek you rejoice. May all who seek you, that's us. May all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who love your salvation always say, the Lord be exalted. Yet I'm poor and needy. May the Lord think of me. You are my help and my deliverer. Oh my God, do not delay. So that was Psalm 40. Remember, folks, I asked you yesterday, I did get a photo by text yesterday of somebody who did this. I asked you to put some sticky notes around your house, bathroom mirror, by the kitchen sink, because those are places you go quite often. This person showed me that she put it on her computer because she's working. Remember, I said, please put up Psalm 74:22. Arise, O Lord, and defend your cause. And the rest of that verse talks about because the people are mocking you. And verse 23 also talks about the people mocking God. We can ask God to keep his word, and we are asking him to arise and defend his cause. So remember, Larry told us it could be March before this whole thing settles down. So if Trump is actually elected under the original Constitution in March, Larry never said anything about that. He just said this whole thing may not be settled until March. That's all he would ever say. He wouldn't tell us about the dangers we were about to face. He didn't want to scare us. He didn't want to. There were certain confidentiality agreements he had signed, and so his lips were sealed on some of this, and he didn't say anything privately to me about it either. So, we are just left wondering what's going to happen, but the days are coming very quickly. Tomorrow is Inauguration Day under the 1871 Constitution. So let's see what happens. Let's be praying for God's will to be done and that he will be glorified through all of this and will shake up the people that need to be shaken up to see the truth and turn their eyes towards the Lord, because that is the most important thing. With that, I'm done for today. I'll be back tomorrow. God bless you and keep safe. I love you all. Appreciate your being here. And trust in the Lord with all your heart. And may God bless you. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye.